Welcome back to the UNCOMMODiFiED podcast. I'm Tim Windsor, and it's time for me to speak up and speak out about a very controversial but crucial business philosophy that I have. The triple high strategy of paying your employees high, managing them high, and demanding high performance. You think it's too much? You think it's too risky? I say it's the only way to stay relevant in a world where mediocrity and occupying the middle of the bell curve will be disastrous for you and your business. Listen, people are terrified of raising the bar. They're scared if you pay more that you'll go bankrupt or go out of business. If they manage harder, they'll lose their teams. Or if they expect more, they'll burn people out. But here's the thing, playing it safe is a one-way ticket to failure. People are not lowering their expectations of you or their lives, and neither should you of them. So buckle up, because I'm about to dismantle your fears and show you why raising the stakes is the only way forward. Number one, pay high. Bet huge or go home, as far as I'm concerned. Let's dive into the first and arguably the most feared pillar in this triple high strategy, pay high. Now, let's not sugarcoat this. Business owners love and need to generate profits, but they also like to cut costs, and sometimes they underpay their employees and hope that they won't notice. Well, guess what? They notice, and they're leaving you and for your competitors and for other companies who understand that compensation isn't just about numbers, it's about respect. Now, I can hear the critics already saying as you're listening, but we can't afford to pay more. We'll go out of business. Newsflash, you can't afford not to. Study after study after study shows that companies that pay their employees more not only keep them longer, but get more out of them. That's no coincidence. When people feel financially respected and rewarded, they're less distracted and disgruntled, and they pour all their mental energy into their work and creating success for you. Think it's just about a warm, fuzzy feeling. Think again, this isn't charity. It's a calculated strategy. It's a strategic decision. You pay higher wages. In return, you get employees who are more engaged, more focused, and more loyal. You're not buying it yet, I suppose? Well, here's some data and some research for you to take to the bank and that you could actually bank on. Higher wages can reduce turnover as much as 50%. A study by the Harvard Business Review found that companies offering higher than average wages experience significantly lower employee turnover. This reduction in turnover directly contributes to lower recruitment and training costs, as replacing a worker can cost 16 to 20% of their annual salary. Higher wages lead to a 7 to 9% increase in productivity. According to research from the National Bureau of Economic Research, it shows that paying higher wages boosts overall worker productivity. Companies like Gravity Payments, for example, which raised their minimum wage to $70,000 a year, $70,000 a year, they saw a 300% increase in the company revenue in the next years. As employees were more motivated, less stressed about their personal finances, and they were more highly engaged in their work. This productivity increase is attributed to employees feeling more valued and being held to higher expectations that match their enhanced compensation. So my advice, go ahead, pay your people what they're worth, all they're worth to you, because the long-term ROI is undeniable. Number two and number three. Number two, manage high. Stop babysitting, start leading. And number three, expect high. Heighten your expectations because you cannot afford to pay big money for mediocrity and for mundane efforts and outcomes. This isn't about babysitting growing adults or holding their hands through every little task. This is about setting a high bar and making damn sure your people have the resources and support to jump it. Anything less, you're failing as a leader. Let me tell you something about weak managers. This is what weak managers don't get. People don't want to be coddled. They want to be challenged. They want to grow, and they want to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. So stop treating them like they can't handle the heat. Set clear, demanding expectations. Don't just throw them in the deep end, but give them the tools and the coaching, the feedback to thrive as you do it. Now, there's a myth out there that setting high expectations burns people out. I think this is wrong. The truth is, in my opinion, people burn out when they're stuck in mediocrity, doing meaningless work without clear goals. And when you manage with high expectations, you give them something to strive for. Workplace productivity studies consistently show that when employees know exactly what's expected of them, they hold themselves accountable to perform to higher expectations. They're more engaged and their productivity skyrockets. It eliminates confusion and conflict because it gets people focused on crushing their goals, not bitching and complaining about their workload, their leaders, and each other. But let me be clear about this. This isn't just about pushing people hard and hoping for the best. Managing high is also about being present. You can't set a high bar and then disappear. You need to be there coaching and guiding, and yes, sometimes pushing them out of the nest to learn to fly higher and further than even they believe they can. And here's where a lot of leaders choke. They're afraid to expect too much from their people because they don't want to seem too demanding. Well, guess what? If you're not demanding and demonstrating excellence yourself and expecting it of others, you shouldn't be leading a team. You think Amazon or Google got to where they are by accepting mediocrity? Hell no, they don't accept mediocrity. They expect the best and they get it. There's something almost magical about high expectation. It's called the Pygmalion effect. People tend to live up to the expectations placed on them. Set the bar low, and that's exactly what you're going to get. Low performance, low engagement, low energy. But set it high, extremely high, and suddenly people start surprising you. They step up, they innovate, they go beyond what you thought was possible because you showed them that excellence wasn't just possible, it was expected. And that's why you're willing to pay them so well. The problem with most leaders is they're too scared to demand greatness. They settle for mediocrity because it's safer. Because here's the cold, hard truth about all this. If you want to play it safe, you're going to get left behind. Expecting high isn't about pressuring people to perform beyond their limits. It's about showing them that their limits are much higher than they ever imagined. It's about building a culture that thrives on achievement, not complacency. Now, let me tell you something that will probably piss you off a bit. Your heightened expectations of excellence and the extra work required to create it without heightened management support and higher compensation will become just extraordinarily evil exploitation. But when you combine high pay, high management, and high expectations, you create a culture of greatness. Take Costco, for example. What a great example. Take Costco. They pay above industry standards. They manage with purpose. They expect excellence. But what's the result? One of the lowest turnover rates and highest productivity rates in retail. Pay high, manage high, and expect high. It's not just my personal philosophy. It's not my professional philosophy. It's a provocative challenge to you and to me, a dare to set the bar on a higher notch for you and your employees, to start expecting greatness from your people and yourself. It's not easy, but it's definitely not comfortable. But nothing worth having is. The reality is businesses that don't adopt this triple high approach are setting themselves up to fail. The world is evolving, and if you're not raising the stakes, you're falling behind. Mediocrity is a slow death in today's competitive landscape. It's simply not an option. If you're ready to up your game and uncommodify yourself as you do it, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and let's keep pushing boundaries together. Until next time, when you join me on the UNCOMMODiFiED podcast, pay high, manage high, expect high, and watch your people achieve more and love it more while they do. Cheers. Thanks for listening.